Michael DeLuca had his life meticulously arranged, every detail controlled, every moment accounted for. Nothing ever disrupted his carefully curated world, until one day, an unexpected sight shook his foundation. What he witnessed that afternoon left him speechless, but it was the truth behind it that would change everything. Stay with us until the end to uncover the shocking twist. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Michael moved through the expansive halls of his estate with the same mechanical precision that dictated every aspect of his life. His business empire thrived under his direction. His estate ran like a flawless machine, and his days were governed by an unwavering routine. Surprises were unwelcome. That was why, as he passed by the large glass windows overlooking the garden, what he saw made him freeze in his tracks. His 12-year-old son, Nathaniel, was dancing. But he wasn't alone. With him was Lucia, the house cook, a woman Michael had barely acknowledged since she was hired 6 months ago. The sight was so unexpected that he blinked several times, convinced his mind was deceiving him. Yet there they were, moving across the grass in perfect harmony. Nathaniel's steps were unsure, slightly clumsy, but full of a rare focus. He stumbled more than once, but instead of displaying frustration, he laughed, a genuine, carefree sound that Michael hadn't heard in years. Ever since his mother's passing, Nathaniel had withdrawn into himself, locking his emotions away. And now, here he was, smiling because of her. Lucia moved with a grace Michael never associated with a cook. Every step was deliberate and refined, not the playful improvisation of someone indulging a child's whim, but the practiced movement of someone trained in the art. She wasn't just humoring him, she was teaching him. A cold unease spread through Michael's chest. He didn't like that someone else, especially a mere employee, had such influence over his son. The longer he watched, the more irritated he became. He had no patience for this. With sharp, deliberate steps, he made his way outside. As he approached, Nathaniel noticed him first, immediately stiffening. The joy that had filled his expression moments ago drained into apprehension. Lucia, however, remained composed, calmly wiping her hands on her apron before turning to face Michael. "What is going on here?" Michael's voice was cool, controlled. Nathaniel lowered his head, but Lucia met his gaze without hesitation. "We were practicing, sir," she said simply. "Practicing what, exactly?" "Your son wanted to learn how to dance." Michael turned his attention to Nathaniel. "Since when?" The boy hesitated, shuffling his feet. "For a while now," he admitted quietly. A sharp pang of guilt struck Michael. He had never noticed. He had never asked. "And why didn't you tell me?" Nathaniel lifted his shoulders in a small shrug, but before he could answer, Lucia spoke. "Because he had no one to practice with." Michael narrowed his eyes at her. There was something firm and unwavering in her tone. It irritated him. "This isn't your job," he stated. "No, it isn't," Lucia agreed. "Then why are you doing it?" She crossed her arms, her expression unreadable. "Because he asked me to." Michael turned back to his son. "Is that true?" Nathaniel nodded. A heavy silence stretched between them. Michael exhaled slowly, trying to rein in his irritation. He had no logical reason to be this unsettled, yet he was. Something about this situation felt off, like there was more to it than he could see, and that was unacceptable. His gaze shifted back to Lucia. "I need to speak with you." "Alone?" Nathaniel looked between them, his brows knitting together with concern. Lucia, however, remained calm. "As you wish, sir." Michael turned sharply, heading back into the house without waiting for her to follow. Yet as he stepped inside, he glanced over his shoulder. Nathaniel leaned toward Lucia, whispering something. She responded quietly, her expression unreadable, and the boy let out a small, conspiratorial smile. A chill ran down Michael's spine. There was something more to this, something he wasn't seeing, and he was determined to uncover it. Michael sat in his office, fingers steepled beneath his chin as he stared at his computer screen. The information before him was both ordinary and unsettling. Lucia Moreno, 29 years old, hired as a cook in his estate 6 months ago. No criminal record, no troubling history, nothing that stood out. By all appearances, she was exactly what she seemed to be, a house employee who did her job and stayed out of trouble. And yet, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more beneath the surface. His instincts had never failed him before. In business, he had built an empire on knowing when something wasn't as it appeared. Now, those same instincts screamed that Lucia was not just a cook. He typed her name into a broader search, adding a keyword that had been nagging at the back of his mind ever since he saw her dance. Lucia Moreno, ballerina. At first, nothing came up. Then, buried beneath countless articles, he found it. A news piece from 7 years ago. Michael leaned forward, scanning the headline. Young ballet prodigy disappears from the stage without explanation. His pulse quickened. He clicked the link, and, as the page loaded, a photo of a much younger Lucia appeared on the screen. She was dressed in a pristine white ballet costume, standing on a grand stage, arms lifted in perfect form. Her expression was serene, confident, nothing like the reserved cook who worked in his kitchen. The article spoke of a rising star in the ballet world, a dancer with an unmatched gift. She had performed in prestigious theaters, had been on the brink of an international career. And then, without scandal or public incident, she vanished from the spotlight. No interviews, no explanations, just gone. Michael sat back in his chair, exhaling sharply. Why would someone with that kind of talent abandon their future? And how'd she end up here, cooking in his house? The questions piled up, and he knew he wouldn't get answers just by staring at a screen. He needed to hear the truth from her. Standing abruptly, he strode out of his office and made his way to the kitchen. Lucia was there, methodically cleaning the countertops. She glanced up as he entered, her expression neutral but guarded. "Mr. DeLuca," she greeted, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Is there something you need?" Michael didn't waste time. He pulled out his phone and placed it on the counter, the article displayed on the screen. Care to explain this? For the first time since he had met her, he saw a genuine surprise flicker across her face. It was brief, but it was there. She didn't immediately respond. Instead, she looked at the screen, then back at him. "You've been searching for me." Her voice was calm, but there was something beneath it, something careful. Michael folded his arms. "I don't like mysteries in my home." Lucia exhaled slowly and placed the dish towel down. For a moment, he thought she might refuse to answer. Then, after a long pause, she spoke. "I suppose I should have expected this," she said quietly. "You're not the type of man to let things go unanswered." Michael didn't respond. He only waited. She looked at the article again, her fingers brushing against the edge of the counter. "I was a dancer," she admitted. "A long time ago.